Hello everybody and welcome back to the Hidden Breach in our 10th Malifaux 3rd edition battle report. Today we'll be playing Maxine versus YanLo the Spiritwalker, and YanLo the Spiritwalker is fielded by Lukas. Lukas is also the organizer of the German Breach Brawl tournament series, which is a 3-tournament series with an invitational at the end. I will put the T3 link as well as the Longshanks link in the show notes, and if you want to join us there at the tournament, go ahead and enroll for the next tournament, which is actually a team tournament. If you ever wonder during this video why YanLo the Spiritwalker is looking so good, it's because it's the only miniature that's not been painted by me. It's been painted by Philip, aka Brushkit, from the Pigment Pirates Hamburg. So if you want to check out more of his awesome miniatures, go to Philip's Instagram, which is also to be found in the show notes, or check out the Pigment Pirates Hamburg, whose Instagram is also to be found in the show notes. A quick note on the side: if you ever feel spammed by how many videos we upload, just go to the bell button and click on notifications off. That way it's exactly as many mouse clicks as it would be to end the subscription. Anyhow, things are looking good here. It's getting a bit warm in the studio. I will be going on vacation for a time, so I will be seeing you here in June for the next Malifaux 3rd edition battle report, and possibly in June or July our first The Other Side battle report. So stay tuned until then as we go into the mission and the crew selection. An overview over today's mission. We got Wedge deployment, our strategy is break the line, and our scheme pool is breakthrough, assassinate, claim jump, catch and release, and bait and switch. Crew select, attacker first. I'm playing Maxine Agassiz as my master, her totem Orville Agassiz, the henchman Kiyama Nimi, the enforcer Hirata Ngatoro, the enforcer Tidecaller, the enforcer Dr. Peep, the enforcer Calypso, and as a minion, a machinist with the upgrade Flush with Cash. And I'm taking 6 soul stones with me into the game. Lukas is playing YanLo the Spiritwalker, his totem the Soul Porter, the henchman Manus the Risen, the enforcer Chiaki the Beacon, the enforcer Sun Kyang, the enforcer Yin the Penangalen, and his minions a Komainu and another Komainu. Lukas takes 7 soul stones with him into the game. Here you can see which schemes were chosen by both players in 3, 2, 1. Alright, this is terrain for Maxine versus YanLo. We got the battle at the beach at one of the most empty battlefields that we ever had, but it's one of the most good looking battlefields that we ever had. We decided to play the water as if it had no terrain traits at all, because otherwise it would have been silly. All rocks are height 1 for this little fella, 2 for those, 3 for those, the cave, and 4 for the big rock, blocking climbable terrain. All bushes that you see are height 2, blocking impassable terrain. Everything that's gravel or little rocks is severe terrain. Market stall is ground ceiling terrain at this point, and our 2 houses at the sea are height 4, blocking impassable terrain, and the pier is height 1, blocking climbable terrain. And everything else is just for the looks of it, and yeah, it's pretty empty, but it should be pretty fun, so I will see you back in deployment. Welcome to deployment. Strategy markers have been deployed. 1 is on the left side of the table behind the house. 1 is on the other side of the house. 1 is on the other side of the rocks. And 1 can be placed atop of the rocks due to the Malifaux measuring range rules. Then Lukas chooses one half of my crew and chooses the one with Maxine. I've now deployed the first half of my crew. From right to left it's Calypso, Hirata, Machinist, and Maxine Agassiz. Now Lukas has deployed his whole crew. From right to left it's Manus, Komainu, Chiaki and Sun Kyang are more towards the middle. Second Komainu Soul Porter on the left side together with Yin, and YanLo is hanging further back. I deploy the second half of my crew. Little surprisingly I place Kia and the Tidecaller at the front of my deployment zone, and Orville, so everyone in my crew has concealment. Komainu 1 is the Komainu who gets the YanLo Reliquary. Start of round 1. Here are the hand cards for the YanLo Crew. And here are the hand cards for the Maxine Crew. Initiative flip round 1. 7-3 in Lukas' favor, and he decides for me to begin. I choose Rams as my reconfigure suit. For Maxine, I activate Hirata, and Hirata uses his bonus action Haka and fails with a 2. I cheat the 5 of Crows, which is my reconfigure suit, so it gets to be a 9, and draw a card due to Maxine's aura. I choose Ingeri for the skill, so all EVS models with an aura 4 of Hirata gain the ability that all enemy models lose all the positive flips to their duel when targeting the EVS models. Then Hirata goes for a walk action and finally a concentrate action to gain a focus. Lukas starts off by activating Chiaki the Beacon, who uses her bonus action Spirit Flute. He flips an 11, but cheats the 10 of Mask for the trigger. He decides that Yin the Penangalen should get the Manos Reliquary, and then all the small pushes take place, so he moves all of his models, and still moving his models, moving models. Alright. Then he uses Beckoning Call onto Yin and fails, but cheats an 8 to pass, so he moves Yin over towards the Soul Porter. Lastly, Chiaki takes a concentrate action. I activate the Machinist, who uses Quartermaster on Hirata. I discard the Black Joker, Hirata gets shielded, and because he's an EVS model, I can draw a card. Then I use Quartermaster again on Calypso and discard a 4. Calypso gains shielded, and again I draw a card. Then the Machinist uses his bonus action and fails with a 3. I cheat the 7 of Crows to pass with a trigger. I take 2 cards from the discard pile, shuffle them back into the deck. In this case 2 Crows, so due to the trigger another model in line of sight gets a focus, for which I choose Hirata in that case. Lukas goes and activates the Soul Porter. The Soul Porter uses Empower Ancestor on Yin and passes with a 13, so Yin moves over her movement towards the other side of the house. Then the Soul Porter takes a walk action towards the middle. I activate Maxine. Maxine uses Impromptu Invention onto the Tidecaller and passes with a 9, but I cheat the 7 of Rams for my reconfigure suit, draw a card due to Maxine's aura, and declare the 1 for all trigger, so Kia and the Tidecaller get both fast. Then Maxine uses Impromptu Invention on Dr. Beep and passes with the 10 of Crows, which is the correct trigger, for maximum force, so Dr. Beep gets focus +2. And as a last action, Maxine takes a walk action around the Tidecaller. Lukas activates Komainu number 2, who takes a walk action through the incorporeal YanLo, and then takes a concentrate action for a focus. I go with the Tidecaller. The Tidecaller uses his bonus action Heavy Torrent on Kia to use the toss action on Kia, and passes with an 8. Kia of course relents and gets thrown. Side note, I should have gotten a 9 because the toss action via the bonus action gets a target number, which is 10 plus the size of the model, and I always tend to forget that Kia is actually size 3. Then the Tidecaller tosses Hirata, who relents, and Hirata gets pushed forward. The Tidecaller then goes on to toss Maxine, who relents and pushes Maxine. And for his fast AP, he takes a walk action and ends his activation. Lukas goes with YanLo, and YanLo uses his bonus action Weary Road onto Komainu 1. So the Komainu moves 3 inches and drops a ski marker, places YanLo next to him. YanLo uses then Final Wish and passes with the 9 of Tomes. YanLo discards 3 cards and puts the other cards back on his deck. Then he uses Twist Reality on Kia, targeting defense. The duel ends 20-15 with the red Joker. Lukas declares Hole in the World trigger and the negative flip does moderate damage. I use a Soulstone to prevent and reduce the damage by 1, and then Kia gets placed with Hole in the World behind the other models. Then YanLo uses an Obey on Komainu 1, passes with a 7. Komainu, of course relents, gets a focus due to the Spirit Guide trigger, takes a walk action and places YanLo. YanLo lastly discards the ski marker to draw a card. I activate Orwell, who takes a walk action and then charges, so he is within range of Kia, and attacks Kia. Kia relents. The double negative flip is weak damage 2, which gets reduced to 1 due to armor, and I can place Kia within 3 inches of herself. Lukas activates Komainu 1. Komainu 1 interacts to push the strategy marker onto my side of the board. Then he does the bonus action from the YanLo reliquary upgrade, which is called Guarding Spirit, to make YanLo use an obey. At this point, Lukas uses an obey on Manos, which is technically illegit because Manos is not within 3 inch of YanLo, and the AP from the bonus action from the upgrade can only be used to target models within 3 inches of YanLo. Anyhow, we don't catch that, so on we go with obeying Manos. He fails with a 3, but cheats the 9 of mask to pass, and Manos takes a walk action towards the rocks in the middle. Lastly, the Komainu takes a walk action, so he is within 7 inches of the strategy marker. I activate Dr. Beep and decide that I do not want to draw cards with another man's trash. I use the onwards bonus action, and I pass with the red joker, of course, and cheat the 5 of tomes anyway for my reconfigure suit to draw another card. And then Dr. Beep tells Calypso to take a charge action and hit Kia with the modified welder. Kia relents and heals to up to 8 health again. And lastly, Dr. Beep tells Calypso to take a walk action. Lukas activates Manos, and Manos uses his bonus action leap. He takes 1 damage for a mask trigger and passes with a 13, so he leaps on top of the rocks. He interacts with the strategy marker, pushing it on my table half, and then uses his Yari versus Calypso. He fails 7 to 14, but cheats 16 to 14. But I cheat for 16 to 17 and the attack fails. I go with Calypso, who uses the onward bonus action and passes with an 11. I walk into base contact with the strategy marker. I go on attacking Manos with the mining tools and fail 9 to 11, but cheat 14 to 11. The negative flip does weak damage of 2, which pass unprevented. Then I attack Manos again and hit 12 to 9, but Lukas cheats 12 to 17 for the attack to fail. Sun Qiang activates and takes a double walk action to reposition, as is so often his fate. I go with Kia. Kia does her bonus shield generator and pass with a 10. I cheat the 4 of crows for my reconfigure suit to draw a card from Maxine's aura. Then Kia takes a double walk action onto the rock and will be turned into a proxy marker because it was a bit dangerous for the model up there. And with her fast AP, she takes a hit on Manos and reduces her shielded condition to make the attack deal irreducible damage. Firstly, the attack fails 12 to 15, but I cheat for 19 to 15 with the convulsions trigger. The negative flip does weak damage of 2, and I can move Manos over with the trigger. Lukas decides not to discard a card, and I can move Manos an additional 3 inches over towards Harata. Last activation of turn 1, Lukas activates Yin, who takes a double walk action, and then uses her bonus action. She fails with the 4, but cheats an 8 to pass, so she takes a damage to interact with the strategy marker and push it over onto my side of the board. Summary turn 1. The YanLo Crew walked over to the right side, Chiaki and the Soul Porter are hanging back in their own deployment zone, and YanLo, the Komainos, are a bit more defensive. Manos went to the front, pushed over a strategy marker, and got some rough love from Calypso and Kia, and is now standing engaged in the middle of my crew. The EVS crew is standing more centrally, bulged up in the middle, only the Machinist is hanging back. Strategy markers are very much on my side of the table, so it's not looking very good there right now. And I see you at hand cards for round 2. Here you can see the hand cards for the Maxine crew, and I spend a soul stone for more cards. And here you can see the hand cards for the YanLo Crew, and Lukas spends also a soul stone for more cards. Initiative flip for round 2. It's 6 to 2 in favor of Lukas. I cheat for 11 to 6 in my favor, but Lukas cheats for 12 to 11 and decides to begin. I declare Mask as a reconfigure suit for Maxine. Lukas goes and activates Manos, who heals 2 due to regeneration plus 2. Then he takes a damage for a mask trigger and uses his bonus action leap. He fails with a 2, but cheats a 7 to pass. He leaps back into his own line and gets a shielded from Sun Qiang's ability. Then he takes the concentrate action for a focus and spends that focus to shoot Orwell. He hits with 9 to 5. I cheat for 9 to 13 with my reconfigure suit to draw a card, and Lukas cheats the red joker for 20 to 13. And the positive flip does moderate damage of 3, but sadly Lukas has another severe in hand and cheats severe damage for 4, so Orwell dies at this point in the game. I activate Calypso, who interacts with the strategy marker to place it to the other side of his base, and then interacts with the strategy marker to further place it up the board. Then Calypso uses the bonus action onward, fails with a 5, but I cheat the 9 of tomes and draw a card. So Calypso can take another walk action, making it so YanLo has no direct line of sight. Lukas activates Sun Qiang, who uses healing energy on Manos. He passes with a 10 and the healing flipped is moderate too. Then Sun Qiang uses Yin and Yang onto Kia. The attack hits with 16 to 14 with the trigger to give Kia Adversary Ancestor, so Kia gets Adversary Ancestor and 1 distracted. I activate the Machinist, who takes a double walk action onto the recently dropped corpse marker and then uses her bonus action. She passes with a 5, so I can shuffle 2 cards from the discard back into my Fate deck. Lukas activates Komainu number 1, who takes a walk action and places YanLo next to him. Then he interacts with the strategy marker and does the bonus action Guarding Spirit from the upgrade, and YanLo now correctly obeys the Komainu 1. He fails with a 4, but cheats a 7 to pass. The Komainu again gets a focus due to the trigger and takes another walk action. I activate the Tidecaller, who takes a walk action, and then uses his bonus action Heavy Torrent on Hirata. The toss gets target number 12, I fail with a 4, but cheat the 8 of Mask for my reconfigure suit and draw a card. So I can toss Hirata, so he engages Chiaki and the Soul Porter and Komainu number 2. Then the Tidecaller tosses Maxine, who relents, and Maxine is getting thrown forward. Lukas activates YanLo, who does Weary Road on Komainu 1, who moves 3 inches and drops a ski marker and places YanLo over. YanLo declares the action, Final Wishes, and spends a Soul Stone for a crow to get the Guard Reliquary trigger. He flips the 6 of crows anyway and decides that Chiaki should give her own reliquary upgrade to Komainu number 2. Then he discards 2 of the 5 cards and puts the other back in any order. YanLo then uses Twist Reality on Kia and hits with 17 to 7. I cheat for 17 to 15, so the negative flip does weak damage of 2. I use a Soul Stone and reduce the damage by 2, so there's no damage taken after all. YanLo shoots at Kia again, hits 16 to 14, but Lukas at this point chooses the 8 of Crow to gain the Stunning Strike trigger with 14 to 14, so I can cheat to 14 to 17 for the attack to fail. I go with Hirata, and Hirata attacks Chiaki and spends a focus. He fails 7 to 15, but I cheat in the red joker for 20 to 15 and declare Sweeping Strike trigger. The straight flip does moderate damage 4 and the blast on the Soul Porter does 3 damage, gets reduced down to 2 due to incorporeal. Then Hirata attacks again and spends another focus on Chiaki. Chiaki uses her own focus defensively and the duel ends 19-14, again with tomes for a Sweeping Strike. The straight flip does weak damage of 3 and I kill Chiaki. I decide a second later off camera to actually cheat in a 6 for moderate damage to kill Chiaki as well as the Soul Porter with the blast marker. Then Hirata uses his bonus action Haka and passes with a 12 to declare Engiri. Lukas activates Komainu number 2. He uses his bonus action Pounce on Chest on Hirata but fails 6 to 13, so he has to take an arduous walk action to get into melee range and attack Hirata. He hits 12 to 7, I cheat for 14 to 12 and the attack fails. I activate Dr. Beep, who draws 2 cards due to another man's trash. He uses the bonus action Onward and passes with a 10 so Calypso can take a walk action. Then Calypso takes another walk action and uses an Interact to place the strategy marker and fall off the rock. Lukas activates Yin the Panangalen, who takes a double walk action and uses her bonus action on herself and passes with a 13. She suffers another 1 damage and places the strategy marker over on my side of the board. I answer with Maxine, who takes a bonus action Ordering Chaos. She fails with a 5, but I cheat the 3 of Mask and shuffle all those lovely cards back into my Fate deck. Due to the trigger, Patterns and Portals, I'm able to place myself within 6 inches of my current position, so I get into melee range with Yin. I declare to use Strike Between the Lines on Yin, but fail my Terrifying check with a 4. As I'm stubborn, I again declare Strike Between the Lines, and this time pass my Terrifying with an 8. I hit 13 to 6. Lukas cheats for 13 to 14. For some reason, we think it's 13-13, and we do a triple negative flip for weak damage of 2, and completely forgot the discard part of the attack. I try a third time, but fail my terrifying duel again with the 4. Lukas is out of activations, so I activate Kia, also known as the proxy marker, who takes a walk action, transforms back into Kia again, and then charges and attacks Yin. Due to her ruthless ability, she ignores Yin's terrifying, but suffers a negative flip due to her distracted. I draw, of course, a 17 on a negative flip, so I hit 17 to 10 with Surge Trigger. The negative flip does weak damage of 2, and I can draw a card due to the Surge Trigger. Alright, summary, turn 2. Manos sniped Orwell, fled into the backline and got healed up again. Komainu 1 pushed the strategy marker a bit, and went back and forth and back and forth. YanLo failed to do very much to Kia, and Harada had a good time killing Chiaki and the Soul Porter, also being slightly lucky. The rest of the EVS is more towards the middle right now, having a nice chat with Yin, who showed up to push the third strategy marker onto my side of the table. Points wise, Lukas has 3 strategy markers on my side of the table, so he gains 1 point. I have 1 strategy marker on his side of the table, so I get also 1 point. Score is 1-1 at this point, and nobody has to declare any schemes. So I see you at hand cards for round 3. So welcome to round 3. Here you see the hand cards for the YanLo Crew in round 3, and Lukas uses Soulstone to draw the red joker and discard 2 cards. Here are the hand cards for the Maxine crew, and I use the excess funds from Flush with Cash upgrade to discard 3 cards and draw the 3 cards on the right side. Initiative flip round 3. It's 10 to 3 for me. Lukas cheats for 12 to 10 in his favor, and I cheat for 13 to 12 to begin the round. Lukas gains a pass token. I start off with Kia, who attacks Yin, hits with 10 to 8, Lukas cheats for 10 to 15, I cheat for 17 to 15, and the double negative flip does weak damage of 2. We do it again. I fail with 10 to 17 and decide it's time for the red joker for 20 to 17 and declare the Surge Trigger. The double negative flip does again weak damage of 2 and kills Yin. I get to draw a card from the Surge Trigger, and we totally forget to give the reliquary upgrade from Yin to anyone else. Kia then uses her bonus action Shield Generator and passes with a 6 of crows, so she gets shielded +1 and the backlash shielding trigger. Lukas starts off with Komainu number 2, who attacks Harada, hits with 18 to 17, and the negative flip does moderate damage of 3. He does it again with focus and hits with 15 to 13. I cheat for 15 to 16 with reconfigure, and I draw a card due to Maxine's aura. Then he tries bonus pounce on chest, wherever he does it at the end, and fails with 8 to 13. I activate Harada. Harada does his bonus action Haka and fails with a 3. I cheat the 8 of Tome to pass and declare the Peru, so every model that fails a duel by 3 or more against Harada, or friendly EVS models with an aura 4 of him, take an additional damage. He attacks the Komainu, fails with 8 to 9, I cheat 13 to 9, but Lukas cheats 13 to 14 for the attack to fail. I hit him again and draw the black joker for 6 to 7 and the attack fails. Manos goes and heals 2 due to regeneration +2. He takes a walk action. Then he takes his bonus action leap, taking a damage for a ram trigger. He fails with the 7 of crows, but Lukas cheats the 8 of mask to pass. He leaps over and with a sudden strike trigger can attack the machinist. He hits 17 to 10. I cheat for 15 to 17 and the negative flip does min damage of 2. Manos attacks the machinist again, but the machinist uses bribery from his upgrade and makes the attack fail automatically. But I have to spend a soulstone and Lukas gains a soulstone. I go with the Tidecaller. He uses heavy torrent on Manos and can use toss on him with target number 12. The duel ends 7 to 4, so I fail the target number and cheat the 8 of marks as my reconfigure suit for 13 to 4 and push Manos over to the right flank. Then the Tidecaller uses toss on the machinist, who relents and pushes the machinist against the barrels. Then the Tidecaller finally takes a walk action. It's time for Komainu number 1, who takes the double walk action, which miraculously gets him over the rocks. Then he uses the bonus action from the YanLo reliquary upgrade, and YanLo obeys him, passes with a 13 and the Komainu relents. The Komainu gets another focus and uses his obey AP to charge and attack the machinist with focus. The attack hits for 15 to 14 and the straight flip does severe damage of 5, so the Machinist dies. I go with Dr. Beep, who draws 2 cards with another man's trash. He interacts to place the marker into Kia's engagement range and then charges and attacks Komainu number 1 with the modified Welder and uses a focus. The attack hits with 18 to 8 and the positive flip does weak damage of 2, reduced by armor to 1, but the Komainu gets burning +1. YanLo goes, uses Very Road on Komainu 1, so the Komainu moves 3 and drops a ski marker. Then he uses Twist Reality on Calypso, fails 8 to 13, cheats 15 to 13, I cheat 15 to 14 with Reconfigure Suit to draw a card, and the negative flip does moderate damage of 3, ignoring armor in this case. Lukas shoots with the YanLo again, fails with 9 to 18 and cheats the red joker for 20 to 18 and declares the stunning strike. The negative flip does moderate damage again, so Calypso sadly explodes and Dr. Beep unburies. The explosion does 1 damage to Kia. YanLo then takes an interact action to place the middle left strategy marker further onto my side. I activate Maxine, who uses Order in Chaos and passes with the 13 of Mask, which happily is my Reconfigure Suit at this point. She gets to shuffle cards back onto the deck and shuffle the deck and teleport over. Then she charges and uses Strike Between the Lines on Komainu 1, hits with 17 to 16. The negative flip does weak damage of 2 and the discard part of the action makes Lukas discard exactly 1 mask. I use Strike Between the Lines again and hit 18 to 10. The straight flip does severe damage of 5 and gets reduced because of armor and hard to kill, so the Komainu sits on 1 health right now, and we forget the discard part of the action. Then Maxine tries an impromptu invention on YanLo, but fails 14 to 20. Sun Qiang activates and goes for a double walk action again to hinder me scoring claim jump in case I had claim jump. So we are at summary turn 3. The Komainu and YanLo went into my deployment zone and pushed the strategy marker and dropped a ski marker for mysterious reason. Sadly, the Komainu did not survive the encounter and burned to death at the end of the round. On the plus side, they managed together to kill A, the Machinist, and B, Calypso. Manos got thrown towards the right side. The rest of my crew and Sun Qiang are chilling out in the middle, and Arata is in an epic fight with Komainu 2, who now has the YanLo reliquary upgrade. Points wise it looks like this. Lukas gets another strategy point, and I do not. And neither player declares a scheme, so we go onwards to round 4. Round 4 starts, and here are the hand cards for Maxine. I use a Soul Stone for 2 additional cards and discard 2 cards. And here are the hand cards for the YanLo Crew, who also used a Soul Stone for additional cards. Initiative round 4. Lukas is right now at +1 for a pass token, and it ends 12 to 11 in favor of Lukas, who decides to begin. Lukas activates YanLo and uses Twist Reality on Dr. Beep for mysterious reasons. He hits with 16 to 13, I cheat 16 to 13 with my Reconfigure Suit to draw a card, and the negative flip does severe damage of 4, of course. And again, Beep uses his focus defensively, the attack fails 16 to 17, but Lukas cheats for 18 to 17, and the negative flip does weak damage of 2, which is all that is required for Beep to die. With his last AP, YanLo pushes the strategy marker further into my deployment zone, so it is now worth 2 points. Then he uses a Weary Road on himself to drop a ski marker, and uses his end of turn ability to discard that ski marker immediately, together with the scrap marker from the dead Komainu to draw 2 cards. I activate the Tidecaller, who uses a charge action and uses his weighted anchor on Sun Qiang. The attack fails 8 to 9, I cheat a Reconfigure card to draw a card and get to 15 to 9, but Lukas cheats for 15 to 18 and the attack fails. Tidecaller attacks again, hits 12 to 11, Lukas cheats 12 to 15 and I cheat 15 to 15 with the Whirlpool trigger. The double negative flip does weak damage of 2 and I can reposition Sun Qiang around the Tidecaller. Then the Tidecaller uses Heavy Torrent on Sun Qiang, so he can use the toss action with target number 12. The duel ends 14 to 14, so I throw Sun Qiang to be engaged by Arata. Lukas activates Komainu 2, who uses his bonus action, Pounce on Chest, and gets it with 9 to 6. I cheat a Reconfigure Crows to get to 9 to 11, but Lukas decides it's worth it and cheats for 14 to 11. So the Komainu places in base contact with Hirata, who gains injured +1. Then he goes and attacks Hirata with 12 to 5 because I draw the black joker at this point, and the straight flip does moderate damage of 3. He attacks again and hits 16 to 5, and I cheat for 16 to 17 and the attack fails. I activate Hirata, who uses his bonus action Haka and passes with a 10, again declaring Peru Peru. He attacks Sun Qiang and fails 7 to 12. I cheat a mask with Reconfigure for 16 to 14 and the Infect trigger. The negative flip does weak damage of 3 and the trigger gets Sun Qiang a poison. I attack again, hit 19 to 12 and the straight flip does 3 damage, so Sun Qiang dies. Lukas decides on playing a pass token, so I at this point activate Kia, who uses her bonus action shield generator and passes with an 11. For some reason I at this point decide to attack YanLo. The first attack fails 7 to 15, I attack again, the attack fails 8 to 11, I cheat for 14 to 11, but Lukas cheats for 14 to 19 and the attack finally fails. Lukas goes with Manos, who takes a walk action, interacts with the strategy marker, does his bonus action leap, takes a damage for a mask, fails with a 2, but Lukas cheats an 8 to pass, so Manos can leap. I go with Maxine, who takes a walk action and uses her bonus action Order in Chaos, spends a soul stone for a mask. She fails, but I cheat a 7 to pass. I can shuffle cards into my bag and I can teleport due to the trigger. I teleport next to the strategy marker and interact with the strategy marker. At this point, for some reason, I interact with the strategy marker and take a walked action to stand beside it instead of interacting twice and putting it on Lukas' table half to get a point. Whatever. Summary turn 4. Manos is still pushing strat marker and he has actually made a double point marker at this point. The Tidecaller, YanLo and Kia are standing around in the middle, while Maxine has begun to actively pursue the strategy of the EVS Crew. Points wise, Lukas gets another point for the strategy, as he has 2 markers more than 8 inches from the middle line on my table half. And as always, there are no schemes attached to round 4. Okay, here's a go for a final round. These are the hand cards for the Maxine crew in round 5. And these are the hand cards for the YanLo crew round 5, and because he has so many, he spends a soul stone for more cards. Initiative flip round 5. It's 11 to 5 for me, and I decide to begin, and declare Mask again as my reconfigure suit for Maxine. I activate Kia, who uses her bonus action Shield Generator and passes with the red joker. Then she decides to hit YanLo again, and hits 17 to 15 with the Convulsions trigger. She reduces her shielded condition to do irreducible damage, and the negative flip does moderate damage of 4. I can move YanLo due to the trigger, and Lukas discards a card not to be moved another 3 inches. Then Kia interacts to push the strategy marker further up the board. Lukas goes with YanLo, who uses Twist Reality on Hirata and hits 11 to 9. I cheat a reconfigure, Crow, to go to 11 to 14, but Lukas cheats 17 to 14, and the negative flip does weak damage of 2, putting Hirata on 1 hit point. Lukas does it again and hits 19 to 12, and the straight flip does weak damage of 2 and kills Hirata. A note of interest at this point, Twist Reality is a shooting action with the gun symbol, so can't be used while being engaged by the Tidecaller. Anyhow, in hindsight it doesn't matter, because he could just have moved out with his bonus action or obeying the Komainu and shoot Hirata to death anyways, so best not dwell on it. YanLo then uses his last AP to obey the Komainu and passes with the red joker, so the Komainu can take a very expensive walk action. And then he uses his bonus action on the Komainu, who moves 3 inches and drops a ski marker, and then takes the ski marker up with his end of activation ability to draw a card. I go with the Tidecaller, who uses his bonus action on YanLo. I fail with 10 to 15, but cheat 16 to 15, so I can push YanLo more towards the middle. Then the Tidecaller uses a walk action and tosses Kia, passes with a 5 and cheats in a 5 for no obvious reason, and throws Kia to engage both YanLo and the Komainu. Komainu 2 goes and uses the bonus action from the YanLo reliquary on YanLo. So YanLo tries to obey Kia, spends a soul stone for mask. He fails 8 to 11, but cheats 17 to 11, so Kia gets obeyed and decides that she should disengage at this point, so she goes away. Then the Komainu takes a walk action and places YanLo and uses his last action to concentrate and get a focus. I activate Maxine, who interacts with the strategy marker to finally put it on my side of the table. Then she takes a walk action back onto her own table half and uses Order and Chaos and passes. I cheat the 6 of mask to draw a card due to my aura and shuffle 2 weak masks back into my deck to teleport to the next strategy marker and interact with that strategy marker to deny Lukas the last strategy point. Last activation of the game is Malifaux, who takes a double walk action into my deployment zone, and this ends the game at this point. Summary turn 5. Malifaux went into my deployment zone. YanLo is 2 in my deployment zone. Maxine got a strat point and denied one. Tidecaller and Kia are standing around in the middle. Points wise, the round started off with 3-1 for Lukas. Lukas gets a point for breakthrough, finally, as he has a model that is not within 4-inch line of sight of any of my models and a ski marker in my deployment zone. I finally get a point for claim jump, because I have the Tidecaller within 2 inches of the center point and he is above half health. Otherwise, I get a point for the strategy because I finally managed to get 2 markers over the middle line, so the score at this point is 4-3. Lukas fails to get a point for claim jump, which he had on Malifaux, and I failed to get a point for Bait&Switch, which I had on Yin the Penangalan, which were the rather optimistic choice in hindsight. So, end of game score is 4-3 in favor of Lukas. If you want my opinion, it was a good game, it was fun. Lukas played well, regarding that he played the crew for the 3rd time and the title for the 1st time, and I did not play that well. I could have taken it, we did a post game in German, and yeah, I think a draw would have been better. I chose my schemes wrongly. I should have chosen breakthrough instead of Bait&Switch, because Bait&Switch is never a good choice if breakthrough is also in the pool. Otherwise, I could have probably chosen the deployment zones differently, go to the top side or take the left side and split the table left to right, because that would have enabled me to take more path with the throw action from the Tidecaller, while the bottom deployment zone limited me to standing around in the middle, not being able to go either left or right. Another problem is that Calypso obviously couldn't leave the bubble because it would immediately get shut down by YanLo, so one of the most important models for doing this strategy in the EVS crew was more or less not available. Anyhow, we agreed that if we were both more proficient with the crews and did like 20 games each, it would still be more or less a close win for the YanLo crew, unless the EVS player got a bit more lucky. Anyhow, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again at the next battle report here at the Hidden Breach.